Hi Scorpio, Amanda here. Welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. Thank you for joining me for your October shift reading. So we're shifting from Virgo season into Libra season, the Hermit energy to Justice energy. So we are coming out of a more internally focused space, a slower moving space, and we are really now looking towards finding balance to situations that have perhaps been imbalanced for a long time. Where's the balance in your life? What, the thing about Hermit energy, being solo, being more internal, being more alone in that internal space, you have to at some point balance that by coming out of the hermit cave, interacting with other folks, So for example, that is one way to look at a shift from Virgo into Libra season. And so in this particular reading, we're going to be looking at the shift, the shape that you are shifting out of, the shape that you are shifting into, and then what that shift looks like and feels like along the way. All right. So first of all, in your pre-shuffle, as I was shuffling all of the decks, getting ready for your energy, this, as I was shuffling through, was just upright, like flipped up, which was sort of spooky and beautiful. It says, imagining more. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Being in this hermit energy. And then, being in this like field alone, this person then like pops their head up for air, Libra, and looks towards the horizon, imagining more for their life, imagining more possibilities. What else could happen now? What's something new we could introduce to bring in more balance here? Imagining more. I love that for you, Scorp. So I'm going to keep that out. And now, before we dive into the cards, very quickly, as I was meditating on your energy, a very simple image came, which was quite lovely. At first I saw like a lot of explosions, almost like demo, like a demolition, like dynamite going off and sort of things exploding within themselves. Like it seemed contained. It was like boom, 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 like a lot of explosions all in one spot. And then I realized that out of that shot fireworks. It was like boom, 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 all in one spot, and then all of a sudden like pew, 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 and they were like shooting these fireworks up into the night sky. And so you saw the shock and awe of the fireworks, which were quite beautiful to behold. And then some of the fireworks stayed up in the sky and became stars. Whoa. Scorpio. So we're looking at like, perhaps contained or very specific, like more specific explosion energy, or like fire combustion, things suddenly that then has larger reverbs like up into the sky. And while that explosion all contained in that smaller micro space might be uncomfortable, the larger picture here is that it's actually like fireworks. It's sending fireworks up into the heavens, and it's quite beautiful to see. And it's like almost like creating new stars up in the sky. It's pretty. Okay. All right, let's pull cards and see how this applies to Scorpio. So we're looking specifically here at the shape you're shifting out of in the month of October. The shape Scorpio is shifting out of. It's your card. Shifting out of death energy. This also popped up. Page of Cups. And I'm getting something very specific with this. You are shifting out of So this Page of Cups energy is like very deep, intuitive, emotional energy, but you notice how like this being is pages are students. They're learning something new, starting something new. I think you have been in a very internal space because, you know, the way I described the shift from Virgo into Libra seasons felt specific for you. If you've been in this hermit cave, check it out. It's a cave, yeah? You've been in this deep, watery, emotional cave internally, down inside of yourself, really sorting through your emotional landscape and really understanding the way your emotions and intuition work together to speak to you, to deliver intuitive messages for you to then take as clues or signs to lead you and guide your direction. All right, that's where you've been. And it seems specifically regarding an emotional situation or like romance, because this card in this deck talks about falling in love. And you can see that with the 2 tulips, very delicately balancing this new beginning of like just starting to move in a new direction emotionally. And for some, that could mean falling in love in this new way. What's interesting is what you are shifting out of now, because death energy is an ending. It is a deep scorpionic type transformation. You know, Scorpio, you can go to those deep inner caves, caverns within you. That is within your nature to be able to do that pretty naturally, as opposed to some other folks, you know, depending on the kind of Scorpio you are. But there's something here about that internal, it's almost like the time for internal emotional processing around love is done. Put very simply, the time for internal processing of your emotional space and like being all in your own intuitive caverns is now coming to a close. Your internal transformation in terms of emotions, you did it. You know, it's done. It's time. The timer, the hourglass, the sands through the hourglass. So are the days of our lives. Sorry, I had to. Okay. So that's the shape you're shifting out of. Interesting. What shape are you shifting into, Scorpio? If that's the shape you're shifting out of, what comes next? What are you shifting into? Okay. Cool. Can we get something else for that? Sorry, I'm having a conversation over here. The answer was no. No. Okay. So here's the situation. You're shifting. It's like, I guess I'm a little frustrated because what is showing up is essentially like reiterating the same energy that I felt here, which was like you're ending this internal transformation period and you're shifting into Nine of Wands reversed, which came out energetically as you're shifting into a space where you no longer have to put up with exhausting situations, because that's what's happening in the Nine of Wands. This person is exhausted. Look at them. They're like bandaged, they're bruised, they're behind all of these walls. You want to talk about hermit energy of like you just being alone in this internal space. And now suddenly you're looking out and imagining more. Like, how could I get out of my hermit cave? What happens outside of this life that I have been living? That's the same energy here. This person's like, what happens outside of my walls? You know, what happens outside of this space that I'm in, this fortress where I'm just like feeling exhausted emotionally, mentally, physically all the time. And I kind of like really can't take this anymore. It came out in reverse, which is telling me you no longer have to be in this kind of energy. You know, You've done the internal emotional transformation work so that through Libra season, you will no longer find yourself in this kind of energy. And then the moon reversed was what came out to clarify, which is furthermore, you know, when you're in the moon energy, you're in a space where you can't really quite see what's going on. You can't see, you know, you're relying solely on intuition to light your path, because moonlight is much trickier and more mysterious than sunlight. You can't quite see everything that's around you. Like, you can't quite see which way to go. You're just really having to rely on your own intuition. And this is the triple goddess. See? This is Maiden Mother Crone. This is what you have transformed into. You have transformed into Maiden Mother Crone, but the message that's coming out for this reverse is the shape you're shifting into. Essentially, because of the internal work you've been doing in hermit mode, transforming emotionally, specifically in terms of, it seems, romance, you no longer have to put up with situations where you feel walled off, where you feel separated from others, where you feel mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausted and alone, and situations where you can't see the way forward and you just have to rely on your own intuition because everything else is totally mysterious and nebulous. You're coming out of that energy. Weird, not totally clear-cut message here, but I think you're picking up what I'm putting down, hopefully. So now let's look at what this shift looks like. What does this shift look like and feel like? What's the pathway here to this shape shift in October for Scorpio? Wheel of Fortune. Come on, do it. Yes. Gorgeous card. Jupiter, baby. Jupiter square Neptune. We just had Jupiter square Neptune for the third and final time this year in the signs that it's in. Okay, what else? What else on the pathway to this shift? Yes. Okay. All right. So the Wheel of Fortune brings change, a lot of change, okay? The wheel turns and brings with it expansion, Jupiter, growth, major change, all right? So we got major change going on, major changes that are allowing you to leave situations of conflict behind. Allowing you to put down the swords. This feels like this, to drop this energy of like, I don't know what's true. I don't know which way to go. There seems to be all of this like painful mental energy about what's really going on here. I can't really tell. I'm just having to rely on intuition. I'm sick of fighting for this. I'm sick of enduring this fight. I'm frickin' done. I want to lay down my sword, and I think you get to do that. You get to do that. There's some major change that starts sweeping in that allows you to finally put up your swords and take a leap of faith to start fresh. You've got new lands now, Scorpio, new territory. And you know, the Earth card came out as well, which is totally feeling like new. It's just like new land beneath your feet. For some of you, that could be pretty literal, you know, like maybe you're just in a new place. You're finding yourself in a new place in October, which is a bit of a leap of faith for you. It's a new beginning. It's, you know, the 0 card. It's the reset. It's a reset for you. that feels way more solid than the territory you have been in here with the Moon card, not being able to really feel firm about where you are because you can't quite see the whole picture, and you're basically just like feeling your way through the dark. No more. You're about to get a new solid place to rest your head, to stand on, solid ground to stand on. But first, Scorpio, it requires a leap of faith, leaping off the cliff into the unknown, leaping into thin air. You will have a place to land. You will have solid ground to land on. But first, leap into thin air with trust and with faith that you're following your gut intuition. Because the reality is, Scorpio, whatever you've been going through in this like hermit mode, this deep internal transformation that you have made emotionally, and intuitively, you are absolutely connected to your intuition. You are the triple goddess, like you are maiden, mother, and crone all in one. You are absolutely fully equipped intuitively to know whether or not you can trust your gut feelings about where to go next, and about this new direction, and about this new start, this leap of faith, whatever this is, this like your heart calling you to do a certain thing. You can trust that you've done the work. Trust that you've done the work now and take the leap. Because where you're leaping, and I can see there's like perhaps a little bit of hesitancy here in this Fool card. This person's like, the leap of faith is this way, but they're looking back this way. It's almost like someone's got their garment and is like pulling them back into the earth that they've known, pulling them back onto the ground that they're familiar with. No. New land that you are unfamiliar with potentially is calling you here. Again, that could be literal, that could be emotional, could have to do with relationships. This could go a lot of different directions for a lot of folks. But I think the message seems pretty clear here. And it's like, once you take this leap of faith, you're gonna find a sense of solidity that it's like you didn't even know was possible. A sense of groundedness and like a place to really plant roots. Yes. Okay, Scorpio, this is beautiful. So let's get an oracle card here from the Illuminated Earth deck for Scorpio for this shift in the month of October. One more, please. Wow, super emotional, Scorpio. What the? Interesting. Okay, well, I can't pull like 7 cards here. They're all saying a very intense message, so we just gotta go with that. Here's what I got. There's some sort of emotional obstacle. Sorry, I'm just trying to arrange the cards for you. There's some sort of emotional obstacle going on. Or perhaps there has been an emotional, we have water, obstacle. There's been this emotional obstacle. Perhaps that's what you've been working through inside of yourself. And now it's like with destruction and grief, whatever you know, this is like a tower moment for those of you who are familiar with that term, like a shakeup in your life. Oh yeah, the meditation that I saw in the beginning, which was like all of this sort of exploding all in one place, that's the destruction. And so perhaps with that, here's all that fire, the lava, you know, that comes in. This is a forest fire is what's showing. See? A naturally occurring destruction is like when nature sets a forest fire itself. It's a naturally occurring destruction that is like important for the ecosystem to thrive. So that's what I'm feeling, is like there's a destruction of something that needs to happen here so that your ecosystem can be reset. And here we have, you know, the grief that is associated with that. So this is either like your grief or like grief of someone around you when you make a shift that you need to make. Shift, change, walking away from situations that are bringing the conflict. That can cause grief, you know. But again, this feels like a very necessary destruction, because this has been an emotional obstacle that has either been within you or around you that's like preventing you from totally taking this leap of faith. That's what's been keeping you in this like mysterious, nebulous, putting up with, you know, isolation and painful emotional energy, whatever, like however this is resonating for you. That's been the emotional obstacle, whether it's your obstacle or somebody else's obstacle. That's been what's standing in your way. And what I'm seeing here now, this is the removal of that obstacle that is necessary in order for the full emotions to flow. Because the thing about grief is it's like emotions finally flowing. It's like the destruction that happens so that whatever this is can finally be grieved. And there can be a new start with the rainbow and the sun shining on the horizon. Whatever this emotional release is, whatever this like removal, destruction that comes in and removes the obstacle. Because yes, thank you. This obstacle is that orb in these cards. That's what I'm seeing. And the fire, the lava is coming in. The explosions that I saw in the beginning of this reading are coming in and like consuming this obstacle, removing it entirely so that there can be this emotional new beginning, a rainbow on the horizon. This is almost also mimicking the fireworks that I saw. I was like, first I saw just destruction. And I was like, oh gosh. And then all of a sudden I realized, wait, it's sending up fireworks into the heavens and they're becoming stars. Rainbow, miracles, in fact, through this destruction, through this removal of an obstacle. Because again, this is all about imagining more. Wow. Scorpio, listen, I'm going to keep pulling cards. This is a really, really interesting reading. So I'm going to pull cards to get some clarity on what is this destruction, what is this obstacle, and how is it being removed. See if we can get some details on that. Also, what is this leap of faith? You know, what is this new solid groundedness or solid foundation that you're finding yourself moving towards? What's the conflict that you're leaving behind? And then, you know, continue with the Spolia deck here to see what happens after this. Okay, great. So you end up in you know, shifting towards energy of coming out of the mystery coming out of enduring, putting up with exhausting situations. And you're going to have much more concrete, definitive ways forward and a total reset. So then what comes next? Okay, so we're going to keep pulling cards. If that's something that's interesting to you, there's going to be a little 1-minute preview of what ends up coming out in, you know, part of what ends up coming out in that extended. So you can just like get a little glimpse of that and see if it's resonating with you. And if it is, and you would like to view the extended, follow the link down below in the description box over onto Patreon, where you will have access to that extended reading. All right. So Scorpio, thank you so much for joining me for your October shift. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. All are representing this obstacle. They are all representing this thing, person, situation, whatever that has, or like maybe it's an internal thing that has been blocking your path, that has been blocking your way to your new beginning. This is what everybody's been fighting over. You know, because look at all the swords. It's like not just you. There's a lot of hands in this pot. There's a lot of swords going on here. It's like this is the issue of conflict that has been up, and it is being removed. Look, I didn't even see this before. This is the same orb that's like taking this other wolf. See, that's a wolf howling. It's taking this other wolf and removing it. This is the obstacle being removed from your path.